Guess what? I'm still here. Surprised to see us in the same video? Yeah, we figured. Instead of letting strangers rewrite the story, we're...
Are we reading a script? Yo, what are we doing? Alright, RIP to the headphones. RIP to the headphones.
My name is Angelo, but most of you know me by Mavattack or Mav. I've seen some alarming evidence.
We're gonna alarming evidence. All right, let's put this in 2 times speed.
These past few weeks, and I'm speaking in support of the victims who have recently come forward about some concerning behavior regarding a previous friend of mine, who a lot of you may know as Cory Kenshin. Cory and I met in 2014, and soon after became best friends for years until I cut ties with him in 2023. In March of 2023, I released.
You cut ties with him? Didn't in the other video he say Cory just left me for dry? Oh my god, dude.
Video on my channel explaining a few of the reasons why he and I were no longer associating or going to be doing collaborations anymore, as I thought I was done creating videos for a few years, but wanted to return to the Mavattack channel. The video was met with a lot of love and appreciation for my contributions to our numerous collaborations throughout the years, as well as listening to my story and experience being best friends and business collaborator with one of the biggest creators on the YouTube platform. The response, however positive, brought a wave of harassment and toxic behavior to my comments, even going so far as to target my wife's social media accounts and the accounts of anyone looking to speak out in support.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Y'all gotta relax on people's significant others and personal lives. Address the content at hand. People be tripping.
Of me simply expressing my truth. My video wasn't intended to badmouth or run a smear campaign against Cory, and in fact, I mentioned how I believed he was still a good person at the time. In the video from 2023, I mentioned details such as how I never cared about what he gained from his success, and I just wanted to enjoy time with the person I connected with before his channel truly blew up. I also expressed frustrations at the time and vented to a friend of mine who Cory had a previous fling with.
Now, this, bro, listen. This is how people get caught double speaking. And
ain't no way, boy.
There's no way that you just said I cut ties with him, but also on the other hand, I just wanted to spend time with the person that I created videos with. So did you cut ties? Or did you want to keep spending time and time wasn't being spent with you? Sometimes I be wondering, do people think people have like the attention span of a goldfish, where they say something a couple sentences later, they say something that contradicts what they said in sentences before? And think people not like, listen, I don't know, man. I don't know.
About how Cory wasn't interested in speaking publicly about people harassing his close friends and family during his long content breaks. This friend of mine at the time would post about Cory on a gossip website while mentioning me by name, which I felt I needed to come clean to Cory about. He forgave me for it. I just wanted to be free from the public thinking we were still close and hounding me, even up until that point. Wasn't interested in speaking publicly about people harassing his close friends and family during his long content breaks. This friend of mine at the time would post about Cory on a gossip website while mentioning me by name, which I felt I needed to come clean to Cory about. He forgave me for it. I just wanted to be free from the public thinking we were still close and hounding me, even up until that point about where Cory was. While there were positive comments, I dealt with numerous forms of harassment.
That's not what happened. Didn't in the video he say somebody said something on a forum, but he vented to that person in a way he shouldn't have? But look how he paints it when he says it now.
I just wanted to be free from the public thinking we were still close and hounding me, even up until that point about where Cory was. While there were positive comments, I dealt with numerous forms of harassment. Harassment that included insults, threats against my safety, about Cory on a gossip website while mentioning me by and speaking publicly about people harassing his close friends and family during his long content breaks. This friend of mine at the time would post about Cory on a gossip website while mentioning me by name, which I felt I needed to come clean to Cory about. He forgave me for it. I just wanted to be free from the public thinking we were still close and hounding me, even up.
Okay, so maybe he vented to the friend and the friend said the thing. Maybe, I don't know.
Till that point about where Cory was. While there were positive comments, I dealt with numerous forms of harassment. Harassment that included insults, threats against my safety, and even claiming that I was a white man trying to weaponize sympathy against a black man, which if you knew me, you would know that I'm an ethnically ambiguous person of color. In my experience, this was an attempt to try and
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
What? Oh man, stop it, brother. Okay, listen. Maybe I heard him wrong.
and trying to weaponize sympathy against a black man, which if you knew me, you would know that I'm an ethnically ambiguous person of color. In my experience,
I don't think he knows what ethnically ambiguous. Hold up. Let me listen to it one more time. Maybe I'm tripping.
claiming that I was a white man trying to weaponize sympathy against a black man, which if you knew me, you would know that I'm an ethnically ambiguous person of color. In my experience,
I'm a ethnically ambiguous person of color. Yo, listen. When people start using big words like that, mashing them up in succession, right? They're trying to hide a fact, okay? A fact is, if I were to take a picture of Mavattack and survey mad people, some people gonna say, oh, he got a red beard, he's Irish, but he's white, okay? European, which is fine. There's nothing There is nothing wrong with that. That people are going to perceive you as that unless you told them something else. Brother, we weren't born yesterday.
Even claiming that I was a white man, trying to weaponize sympathy against
Claiming I was a white...
comments.
Now, he probably could, like, if he told me later I'm Spanish, might believe it. You know what I'm saying?
Dealt with numerous forms of harassment.
I could see it a little bit. Maybe he could pass for a little bit of Spanish, right? Hispanic. But if you ask most people, they're gonna your reality is probably of all right. I mean, I guess
Harassment that included insults, threats against my safety, and even claiming that I was a white man trying to weaponize sympathy against a black man, which if you knew me, you would know that I'm an ethnically ambiguous person of color. In my experience, this was an attempt to try and invalidate my identity, trauma.
Ethnically ambiguous. That what ambiguous means nobody knows what exactly you are. But if people had to choose, Mavattack, buddy, what box do you think they're gonna put you in? Just guess. Just guess. If I bet you $100 and I said I am going to go show your picture to a random person walking outside of Walmart, though you might be racially ambiguous, if you had to bet, which box do you think they're gonna put you in? Bro, I swear, people learn words and they think people become dumb.
And personal experience as an individual who isn't afraid to be vulnerable and allow my emotions to come through regardless of the public perception. The same harassment I dealt with in the 2023 video is the same harassment I spent years dealing with prior, trying to make a business and name for myself, all while dealing with personal issues and being bombarded by comments harassing me about when Cory is going to return from one of his many lengthy breaks from YouTube. Part of my issues with Cory that were communicated and shut down by him were when he would step away from YouTube without updating his obsessed audience. I'd then reach out to ask him if he could post on social media saying he's okay and to leave his friends and family alone, which would always conclude with him saying that's just how he is. He was going to do what he wanted regardless of how much it would hurt the people he claimed to love and care for. A couple common misunderstandings taken from this video were that I never communicated with Cory about his breaks and the harassment I was facing and instead posted it on the internet, when in reality I spoke about it with him multiple times throughout the years, even expressing it in YouTube videos, which are all up on my channel. The public wanted to run with the narrative that Cory was the one who cut off the connection with me, when in fact I was the one that cut ties with him because I had had enough.
But he just said he wanted to spend more time.
Was the one who decided that the friendship no longer served my best interests, and I distanced myself with him.
All right, even though witnessing the same family and friends actually using you, I still remain there for you to vent for frustration and share laughs with. I'm sorry, but I just can't continue feeling like you're keeping me at arm's length. I'd rather have the mental. This is peak manipulation, chat. This is manipulation right here. You're not acting the way I want you to act. Sometimes you just gotta let people be them if they want to. Bro, if people start hitting me up, yo, I ain't seen Snipe do a sneaker video in like 10 years. What happened? Holla, where is he? I'm like, listen, I don't know. Y'all gonna have to go talk to him. He ain't give me no timeline when he coming back. Deal with it. And you keep it moving.
For good, instead of allowing myself to remain at arm's reach. I had also mentioned in the video, which was set to private only a few days after it was posted, due to it reaching nearly an overwhelming 700,000 views, that I held frustrations towards him for taking parts of my creative ideas in my videos, which I felt he was using to help further establish and push his own personal brand. This issue was brought up to Cory during one of our last few times speaking on the phone, which he admitted to doing and apologized for. I wasn't the only person who not only fell victim to the ravenous fan base that Cory Kenshin had accumulated, but also, from my view, the neglectful person that Cory is behind the scenes. Cory's brother, Certified AK, posted a YouTube video back in 2020 titled The Truth, where he expressed his sadness and disappointment and lack of motivation to enjoy creating YouTube videos due to an invasion of comments asking for Cory's whereabouts.
I texted my brother probably like 2 weeks ago, and I showed him all the comments, all the spams I was getting on my channel, and I'm just putting the video of what he said, guys. And honestly,
Cory, man, I'm sick of these freaking comments. Woo! You mind if I make a video on why you've been gone so long? I just want these kind of comments to stop. Now, I'll speak on why I've been gone. If you don't like those comments, you need to tell your community that, but I told you that's what's going to happen. It happened to Brandon. It happened to Mav, and especially going to happen to you. Okay. I don't see what's wrong with that. But I also see like making a, first of all, I'm not asking. All right. I'm not asking. Bro, listen, y'all need to relax in these comments asking me about Cory. All right. And you go on and live your life. People are going to ask though. That's what happens when people are obsessed. Okay, you think, honestly, from a honest mind, do you think if Cory comes out and be like, yo, can you stop asking my friends why I'm gone? You think they're going to stop? No, they're not. But you know, it is what it is, man.
I already knew he was about to say that. I already knew. I just texted him and told him just to see if he was aware. Just already knew he was going to say. That's my brother. I've known him all my life, 16 years. I know exactly what he was going to say.
The reason I brought up this video in particular is that in the first few minutes, Certified AK discusses Cory's hiatus and proceeds to mention how he texts Cory asking for help, and Cory told him that it's not his responsibility to address Certified AK's community, which I personally believe mostly came from Cory, and that it happened to Mav, and it's especially going to happen to you. Knowing that I was one of the closest people to Cory while dealing with the same harassment as another helped validate all of the anguish I had endured. However, I find it disgusting that this behavior and harassment had to happen to a minor at the time. My wife, Lady Plague, who previously went by Rolam, was also subjected to numerous forms of harassment, such as degrading her character and career, and even receiving death threats for simply speaking. Harassment as another helped validate all of the anguish I had endured. However, I find it disgusting that this behavior and harassment had to happen to a minor at the time. My wife, Lady Plague, who previously went by
Chat, hold on. Hold on. Let me listen to that one more time.
And proceeds to mention how he texts Cory asking for help, and Cory told him that it's not his responsibility to address Certified AK's community, which I personally believe mostly came from Cory, and that it happened to Mav, and it's especially going to happen to you. Knowing that I was one of the closest people to Cory while dealing with the same harassment as another helped validate all of the anguish I had endured. However, I find it disgusting that this behavior and harassment had to happen to a minor at the time. My wife, Lady Plague, who previously went by Rolam.
Okay. You know, I know punctuation a little bit. Okay.
The anguish I had endured. However, I find it disgusting that this behavior and harassment had.
Okay, let's follow the sentence. I find it
to happen to a minor at Cory while dealing with the same harassment as another helped validate all of the anguish I had endured. However, I find it disgusting that this behavior and harassment had to happen to a minor at the
I find it disgusting that this behavior had to happen to a minor. Comma. There's a comma right there, okay?
Time. My wife, Lady.
My wife. Okay. Hold up. Hold on. So, if either all of y'all were minors at the time, you and her were minors at the time, or she was a minor at the time, and y'all weren't minors at the time. Which Mav? Which one is it? I don't know. I am just asking questions. That just sounded like I don't know. I'm just listening.
As another helped validate all of the anguish I had endured. However, I find it disgusting that this behavior and harassment had to happen to a minor at the time. My wife, Lady Plague, who previously went by Rolam, was also subjected to numerous forms of harassment, such as degrading her character and career, and even receiving death threats for simply speaking out in support of my experiences. I was frustrated that others were being just as affected as me.
No. You think he meant Cory's brother is a minor? Hold on.
Disgusting that this behavior, knowing that I was one of the closest people to Cory while dealing with the same harassment as another, helped validate all of the anguish I had endured. However, I find it disgusting that this behavior and harassment had to happen to a minor at the time. My wife, Lady Plague, who previously went by Rolam, was also subjected.
Okay, maybe he is talking, but it's his brother though. Okay. So maybe he was talking about his brother. Okay, we'll give him that one.
He texts Cory asking for help, and Cory told him that it's not his responsibility to address Certified AK's community, which I personally believe mostly came from Cory, and that it happened to Mav, and it's especially going to happen to you. Knowing that I was one of the closest people to Cory while dealing with the same harassment as another helped validate all of the anguish I had endured. However, I find it disgusting that this behavior and harassment had to happen to a minor at the time.
But why are you throwing minor in? It's his brother. I think it's more important that it's happening to his brother than the fact that his brother is a minor. But, you know,
my wife, Lady Plague, who previously went by Rolam, was also subjected to numerous forms of harassment, such as degrading her character and career, and even receiving death.
He probably wrote down like bullet points, which that's fine. You want to keep track of the story the way you know.
For simply speaking out in support of my experiences. I was frustrated that others were being just as affected as me, and in hindsight, it would have been easier to stop collaborating and cut ties with Cory earlier on. But when you believe things with your best friend are good, and you're working side by side together, it's hard to see the bigger picture and easier to tolerate the harassment. Once the internet was done reacting to my video in 2023, I thought that was the end of it. Regarding the recent assertion that came out from an ex-girlfriend of Cory's, I would like to first start off by saying I'm extremely saddened and hurt to hear that there are not only friends and family, but romantic relationships which were also impacted by Cory's selfish behavior. Recently, Panda Ninja, who was an ex-girlfriend of Cory's, spoke out about her time being with him on and off through the years from 2016 onward, providing videos, screenshots of text message conversations. And
y'all already seen my take on this, all right? So y'all could, just go watch that.
Perspective of their time together. I met Panda in August of 2017, where myself, Panda, and Cory all spent time in person. Not only did I meet Panda, but I got to see her and Cory's chemistry around each other. Based on my own personal conversations with Cory and my time around both him and Panda, I believe her account and confirm that the messages align with what I witnessed. I can confirm that the screenshots she provided when telling her story are in fact true, and Cory's behavior and language seen in the text messages are in fact real. Not only are they real messages, but what wasn't publicly shown in the text thread mentions my name as one of the people who Cory informed of his and Panda's relationship at the time. Once Panda's story blew up online, she faced multiple forms of harassment, such as doxing, and even received death threats for simply expressing her truth. Her story wasn't what many people claim to be a nothing burger, making videos disingenuously presenting Panda's story, showcasing a lack of care for a very serious circumstance. In Panda speaking out.
Listen, I have a somebody in my life I once called a friend, and they were doing toxic things to their significant other. We couldn't be friends after that, buddy. All right, you're done. Now, am I gonna run into the world and tell the story what happened? No, because that would be her job to do. I can't tell their business. If she don't want to tell it to the world, it is what it is. Me personally, I cannot be a part of what's going on. Okay. if all of these things aligned and you knew all of this was going on and you knew if the way she says she treated him, he was actually treating her, then why would you be begging to still be this person's friend and be buddy and work alongside somebody who treats people like that? It's just a question, man. Some people, when there's no if they don't see that they can get benefit from you no more, they will be less charitable instead of just maintaining the same moral and principles they had before.
She set forth the openness and strength for others with similar stories to step out of the shadows. Shortly after Panda's story circulated, another woman reached out to Panda with more proof of Cory's terrible behavior with women, disregarding personal boundaries, and even going so far as to have close friends keep tabs on what these women were saying and doing on their social media accounts. In 2015, I received a YouTube DM from a woman who was close friends with Cory at the time, asking for clarification about their friendship, wondering if there was more of a romantic interest by the way he would speak to her. I couldn't provide any clarity though, and I didn't think much of it at the time. Asking for clarification about their friendship, wondering if there was more of a romantic interest by the way he would speak to her. I couldn't provide any clarity though, and I didn't think much of it at the time. A few years ago, she replied to a YouTube comment on her channel, updating someone about her and Cory's friendship, and stated that they weren't friends anymore due to him believing what a fan said about me, and yelled at me for being a terrible person. Another person who I believe is a victim in all of this, who, out of respect for her privacy, I won't mention by name, is a woman I met early on in Cory and I's friendship, who happened to be a long-time on and off high school girlfriend of Cory's. In between all of his questionable relationships with women, it seemed to me there was always someone he could fall back on. I recall one situation where Cory had a random woman come out to his house when his girlfriend came over unannounced and awkwardly found Cory and the woman in his bedroom. This is just a subtle glimpse into how Cory
Yo, my man was. Hey, look. I don't cheat. Cory, you a wild man. You a wild boy.
treats his relationship with women. In my view, Cory often disregarded the emotions and boundaries of people around him, especially women, treating relationships casually and selfishly. I felt the need to write a statement to help further validate the victim's experiences, and in my experience, this was psychological manipulation and emotional abuse. It's been difficult to reconcile the public image you've built, one centered around faith, morality.
And this is why people need to go to therapy, because a lot of these words that people are using, abuse, psychological, narcissist, they be doing a lot of heavy lifting for people who only know them in layman fashion. All right. But yeah.
And Christian values with the private behavior I and others have personally witnessed over the years. In my experience and personal interactions, there's a deep disconnect between the public persona you've cultivated and the conduct I observe in private settings. Utilizing a family-safe brand image.
But if you, this is why you cannot respect people who come out after the fact. Okay? If you seen these things, but you were still begging when he did the video in 2023 or 2022, whenever he said he did it, right? The last video he did, he said he had a private. When he did that video, you didn't bring up none of this. When you do a slander campaign about, yo, this is what I think, why? Listen, if you knew all of this, why didn't you say that? Huh? That's what, bro. And that's why you have to look at the scope of situations. If you ever talk to a child, right? The child is going to try to zero in on the one part of the story that they want you to care about. Mom, but mom, he hit me. He hit me. All right. Well, what happened before that? I don't know. I was just doing this and then they hit me. Okay. Then you start to learn about the other story. Learning part of the story doesn't make the other person right now for hitting you, but it just gives context to the story. If you've seen all of this, one, why would you go back to wanting to be his friend and, yo, I'ma still hang out with this person? Why would you do that? Two, when you were dropping this story, you could have said, you were ranting about all the things that was wrong with Cory. Why wouldn't you have brought this up as another thing in that video? Those two questions have to lead you to believe why people may give certain charity in perspective to when they decide to tell tell-alls later. Would you be saying this? Would you be using manipulative in the way you're using it in Cory's actions if you and Cory were still cool? So or is it because y'all have no connection no more? These are questions you got to ask yourself, Chad.
And people who may not know any better is disgusting in my eyes. I believe all you care about is yourself and protecting your brand image. I don't believe you care about your audience, and I sure don't believe you care about your friends or your family. This isn't about trying to dirty Cory's name, because I believe he's done that himself to anyone who has ever seen past his facade. This video isn't about clout or trying to build or gain anything from his name or platform. There was a point in time where I truly thought Cory was a good person.
And it's not even that I believe one person or the other. Based on what I'm hearing, I can see, is there some validation to some people being upset with Cory? Who isn't? There's no problem with people being upset with your actions in life. There's no problem with that because some people just ain't gonna agree with the way that you carry yourself. But between what people have said and the line where we should, ban him, exile him from society, where people are trying to push that line and the information we have are still very far apart.
Time has gone on and more people have received personal traumas due to his actions, I felt I needed to speak. Mental and emotional abuse are very much a real thing that is typically not taken seriously by society at large, especially when it comes from a woman's voice. Just because someone isn't physically...
See, this is the pandering. You could just say what happened and move on.
Abused doesn't mean we get to take the victim's voices lightly. What I have personally witnessed and gone through and what others have shared all mirror emotional abuse to me. The last text Cory sent me mentioned that he was hopeful to change and repair things with his mother because the same anger he had towards me, he held against her, and maybe their relationship wouldn't have to decay the same way ours did. Not only do I believe that you haven't changed, but from my perspective, you continue to misuse the influence you've been given, taking advantage of situations and people when it suits you. In my experience, your behavior has followed a deeply harmful pattern that echoes emotional and psychological manipulation, all the while being enabled by the one so dedicated to keeping your name in a good light. You've given millions the false impression that you're a man of God and that you're a beacon of light, and from my perspective, the culture surrounding your platform mirrors the harm I believe you've caused behind the scenes, reflecting a pattern of disregard towards women, close friends, and those who once trusted you, including myself. Cory's fanbase has at times engaged in patterns of misogynistic harassment, particularly towards women and those who speak critically or share personal experiences. While creators can't control every follower, the absence of public acknowledgement from Cory has contributed to a climate where this behavior is often left unchecked. In my experience, this is a massive parasocial problem, and Cory's fanbase is a huge example of the lengths people will go to defend someone they know absolutely nothing about. I also do not fault Panda for reacting the way she did after her experience was shared. People who are on the outside looking in will never truly understand the attention and scrutiny you'll face when dealing with a massive slice of the internet, especially when speaking your truth about a large...
Why are you bringing up his mom? Maybe he's trying to draw the parallel, which I could see why somebody would do that. Like, this is why he might be like this. He got this relationship here. It caused him to be like this. And this is why all the other relationships follow after that. So I don't think it's wrong that he bring up his mom. I don't like if it adds to the perspective he's trying to show his relationship. Cause he didn't say anything negative about his mom. He just said, you got a bad relationship with your mom. It's like saying a girl got daddy issues or a boy got mommy issues or a boy got daddy issues. Like, you're not saying anything bad about the parent. You're just speaking to how that relationship may affect the way that they conduct themselves with other people.
Figure in that space and how easy it is to spiral, causing one to potentially change information on their account, hide content, or even deactivate altogether. You can't know how to handle or manage when you're going through that constant pressure.
But Mav also has to understand, you don't understand the pressure of being in Cory's shoes. But that's the part of being friends. I don't necessarily understand what you're going through, but you're going through it. You want me to do something that you think is so easy. Make a post, say this. But when you make a post, it's going to lead to more questions. And more questions are going to lead to more things you got to answer. So if you want to be silent, that's fine. Do that. If people hit me up, I open the message, close the message, get off your phone. It'd be different if he was like a streamer and people were brigading his stream all day. These were videos. Scroll past the comment.
Especially if you've never experienced anything like that, which most of you have not. I followed a similar pattern as Panda with my 2023 video, not knowing how...
You said now we women haters. That's what, bro, you critique women and they're automatically going to throw that. You cannot critique women without being a woman hater. All right? It's the world we live in. Deal with it.
To handle all of the voices and opinions from the public at large, feeling isolated, alone, and lost. Something that big can cause you to not think and just act due to the shock of circumstance and how much of an impact your words may have. Large platforms should be utilized to help the world, not be kept quiet and in the shadows only when it's convenient for the person running them to benefit from it. I want to address one last thing about my video from 2023. A lot of people try to push the narrative that I was jealous of Cory's success or that I was a clout chaser. From everything I've seen, that couldn't be further from the truth. Panda showed me a conversation she had with Cory. He was spending time with Dashi, a close friend and collaborator of his, and brought up how rich Dashi is, how he wasn't as rich, while also being annoyed that Panda admired Dashi. To me, that was revealing. It suggests...
Hold up. Let's read this.
Collaborator of his, and brought up how...
You're basically up there with him. What does that have to do? Hold up. What does he have different than what you have? Movie called Skyscraper, and if you came here, you know this dude way richer. Was it good? Both are successful for something to be proud of. Yeah.
Rich Dashi is, how he wasn't as rich, while also being annoyed that Panda admired Dashi.
You're with Dashi. Tell him I say hello. Yeah. Your true fave. It's a joke, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Cory, you know you're my fave. Don't be jelly. Don't jelly, please. Dashi yell so much.
A lot of people try to push the narrative that I was jealous of Cory's success or that I was a clout chaser. From everything I've seen, that couldn't be further from the truth. Panda showed me a conversation she had with Cory. He was spending time with Dashi, a close friend and collaborator of his, and brought up how
12 p.m.
rich Dashi is, how he wasn't as rich, while also being annoyed that Panda admired
Yo, what apps do people be using?
Dashi.
You see how, if I were to show you these screenshots, me personally, I would take this as, look, My girlfriend is going to see Chris Brown tomorrow, Monday, Sunday. My girlfriend is going to see Chris Brown. All right. She in like the first 10 rows of the concert. When she get dressed that day, I'm going to be like, oh, you want him, don't you? It's a joke. It's a joke. I'm already prepared. I done made like 10 Chris Brown jokes in the past 2 weeks. It's a fact, all right? But you're taking something like that, dumping your own thing to shift what may actually happen. You said R.I.P. Holla. Hold on, what happened? Oh, you think the app crashed? Brandon, okay.
A lot of people try to push the narrative that I was jealous of Cory's success or that I was a clout chaser. From everything.
See, you're trying to spin this is what they said about me, but look, he thought Dashy was rich. Bruh, there's mad YouTubers I met that got, they stacked. They getting money. And I might bring that up like, yo, this is what's possible with what I'm doing. That's how you look at it. Everybody's not jealous though. But what he's doing right now is he's projecting. Because when he talk about what Cory got, it's from a place of jealousy. So when he hear Cory talk about what Dashy got, he thinks it's from a place of jealousy. But sometimes it's from a place of admiration. That's why you cannot project your own thoughts and feelings onto somebody else.
I've seen that couldn't be further from the truth. Panda showed me a conversation she had with Cory. He was spending time with Dashy, a close friend and collaborator of his, and brought up how rich Dashy is, how he wasn't as rich, while also being annoyed that Panda admired Dashy. To me, that was revealing. It suggested that instead of being confident in the friendship, he compared himself to someone close to him and turned it into a point of tension. I bring up Dashy for 2 reasons.
Tension? Yo, tension is like, yo, why you want to say, if he would have, yo, why you want to say hi to Dashy? Oh, you like Dashy better than me? So you want to say hi to him? Fine. Why don't you just text him? That's jealousy. Oh, you want to talk to Dashy, your real fave. What? Come on now.
First, because I personally met and hung around him on multiple occasions. Second, because if I were close to someone who carried feelings of inadequacy into their friendships, I'd want to know. From my perspective, Cory sometimes leveraged his relationship with Dashy in ways that felt unhealthy. It wasn't just casual name dropping. It came across like he was using it to provoke Panda, to test her, even to create arguments. The effect was that even something as simple as a birthday wish could turn into a conflict. In my view, that shows a pattern of emotional manipulation, not for connection, but for control. That's why I believe it's important to talk about. Because when you see someone consistently using situations or people to create distance instead of closeness, that's not just insecurity. It can be damaging to the people around them. I was never jealous of Cory's success. Jealousy isn't telling Cory's community off while still wanting to work with and enjoy my time with him because he was my best friend, even though I hated the toxicity of his community. I believe wanting to see the fruits of my hard work and labor day after day is not being jealous. I was never jealous of Cory. I'm taking this time to take accountability for not standing up for women because in the past I was ignorant to them seeking help regarding Cory.
Oh no, he didn't. No, yo, the fake post. The fake post. What is it called when you support somebody? What's the word? There's a word I'm looking for.
Is not being jealous. I was never jealous of Cory. I'm taking this time to take accountability for not.
This is what happens when people latch on to a community, because maybe this community might be the one I need to latch on to drive my point home and be vindicated in my feelings. That's what it is. Before it was, yo, look, he stole my stuff. You were trying to tap into the creators. Look, he stole my. Now it's, women, I'm sorry I didn't support y'all in the beginning. But now I understand we the same. We need to team up. And take them. Yo, get out
standing up for women because in the past I was ignorant to them seeking help regarding Cory. Moving forward, I'm no longer letting those voices remain silent. I want to make it very clear that this statement is not an attempt to slander, defame, or cause harm to Cory. This is a statement rooted in my own experience, observations, and in support of those who've been affected, which is being shared in good faith and for the purpose of transparency, incitement of dialogue, and accountability. I felt manipulated by Cory's actions and emotionally harmed by how he treated me and others, and I believe that a public apology and acknowledgement is not only justified, but very necessary for healing. Thank you so much for hearing my voice. And now, standing side by...
Okay, and when you go to a therapist, they're going to tell you, you shouldn't need somebody's apology to heal from even what they may have put you through. That's not healing, my brother. Yo, listen, you can get insurance for like $75 a month. That comes with insurance that covers therapy. Maybe you should try it. All right? You know what I'm saying? And that's where we link in down below. Promo code Big Holla at BetterHelp. I don't got a sponsorship, but
side with me. Here is Panda Ninja, who has a few things to say. Panda, I want to thank you so much for your courage and you speaking out and presenting everything in your story.
So you see the thing, the build up, then it's, I'm for the women now, brings the girl. Now let's see how deep she gets into the story.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mav. I'm Panda, also known as Panda Ninja, but when you mocked, misquoted, and tried to bury under your projections. Guess what? I'm still here. Surprised to see us in the same video? Yeah, we figured. Instead of letting strangers rewrite the story, we're
Are we reading a script? Yo, what are we doing? All right, RIP to the headphones. RIP to the headphones, bruh. It's GG's in the chat for those. I'm gonna have to go buy some new ones today. Can I still hear? All right, we're gonna try to hear out the headphones. Ugh, this is crazy. This is crazy. Headphones don't even fit no more. Look at me, bruh. Look at me. All right.
saying it ourselves, direct and unfiltered. Awkward, isn't it? You weren't ready for this. This isn't about canceling him. It's about accountability. Canceling erases people. Accountability forces them to face what they've done. If that feels like canceling, that's because nobody's ever held him accountable before. Here's the truth. He didn't need to put his hands on me to leave scars. He punished with silence. He messed with my head. Gaslit. Love bomb. Disappeared. Then spun the story to make me look unstable. That was control. The way he treated me left me feeling mentally and emotionally abused. It wasn't just me. Others around him felt it too. Everybody's
Hold up. Not only are we reading from a script, okay? Not only are we reading from a script. RIP Holla headphone. I needed to get some more too, because look, they were starting to look like these. I wore them to the gym a couple times. It was GG's in the chat, okay? We're going to get through this.
What? I'm still here. Surprised to see us in the same video? Yeah, we.
So not only, like, it would have been cool if they were side by side and they talked about it naturally. But when this is a production, you're reading a script, you're jump cutting through what you're talking about. It's giving performance. You feel me?
Figured. Instead of letting strangers rewrite the story, we're saying it ourselves, direct and unfiltered.
You said put it in normal speed. All right, we'll put it in 1.5. We'll put it in 1.5.
Awkward, isn't it? You weren't ready for this. This isn't about canceling him. It's about accountability. Canceling erases people. Accountability forces them to face what they've done. If that feels like canceling, that's because canceling him is about accountability. Canceling erases people. Accountability forces them to face what they've done. If that
canceling erases people.
That feels like canceling. That's because nobody's ever held him accountable before. Here's the truth. He didn't need to put his hands on me to leave scars. He punished with silence. He messed with my head. Gaslit. Love bomb. Disappeared. Then spun the story to make me look unstable. That was control. The way he treated me left me feeling mentally and emotionally abused. It wasn't just me. Others around him felt it too. Everybody swears they care about mental health until it's right in front of them. You can't claim to fight for it while weaponizing it against survivors. That's not support, and it's why so many shut up and suffer in silence. And no, I didn't.
All right. Hold up. It won't let me zoom in? Okay, maybe not. All right, we're back to... I thought it was going to let me zoom in. I was trying to see, are we looking at like a word pad here? Or...
I didn't post every detail. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. It means I was protecting myself from him and from the internet circus that never shuts the fuck up. Also, y'all ran with some essay shit I never even said. Not once, not hinted at all. But because reading is hard and critical thinking is extinct, you turn your own fake headline into a whole narrative. I said he didn't do that.
No, but you didn't say... But you posted a video first that said... Oh, I didn't know. First you said the video was something avocado. I was abused by Cory Kenshin. Right? That's what you said. Next video was y'all walking down the hallway, him making a joke about, girl, you know I do that while you sleep. Do people think we were born yesterday? Walking that, it's called insinuation. Nobody is more dangerous than somebody that in an argument, they insinuate things. Then when they get pressed on why they're trying to make that insinuation, they say, I didn't say that though. Did I say that? Those are, bro, she might be valid in everything. She's still a manipulator because there is no way that you insinuate something like that. People who always retreat back, but did I say that? The reason they retreat back to, but did I say that, is because they intentionally didn't say it, tried to insinuate it, so they couldn't be held accountable for insinuating what happened. If she said in black and white, yo, Cory, bedroom did this to me, she would have had to stand on that. Instead, her picture and video, anybody with a IQ above 22 would have said, oh, that she's saying this because something obviously happened to her. He made a right after your post about I was abused by Cory is a video of him making a sexual innuendo that would be abuse if he actually did it. That's what would have happened. Because you said a day or two later that he didn't do it, does not mean you didn't intentionally insinuate it in the beginning. Yo, these headphones look crazy. I ain't gonna cap.
Repeated it. The fact I had to say it over and over proves you weren't listening. You were twisting on purpose. Just because it wasn't essay doesn't mean it wasn't abuse. Doesn't mean it didn't damage me. If that still doesn't click, you're not confused. You're willfully ignorant.
And then it's called, what is it called? A red herring? Hold up.
I'm here to babysit anybody through common sense. Nobody told y'all to run like dumbass.
And that's correct. So this is why people like this, you have to, now we're not, and I hate that when you try to hold people in account to what they said, even though they may have been wronged, they never address it with somebody combating what they're saying.
Making up storylines and believing lies. I don't owe anyone any updates.
Because at first, if you're using your common sense, if somebody said this person abused me, then you show a video of, hey, who knew I would look back and see that this was one of the blah, blah, blah. And it's a video of the person make a sexual innuendo. With them two posts, anybody with common sense is going to tie that. What?
Especially not people who only show up for the drama. You don't want truth, you want content. Because I don't post on your schedule, suddenly I'm hiding or lying. Bitch, please. It means I'm not desperate for attention like the rest of you. The same people calling me a clout chaser are literally the ones posting shit for attention. Y'all made hate videos, ran your mouths, and tried to go viral off me. But somehow I'm the fucking...
She followed a trend to start it off. We can be honest. You can say, I was looking for attention. Did you want your story heard or not? When you want your story heard, you're looking for attention to your story. That's what you're doing. We can be honest. You cannot retreat back to, I didn't want no attention. You wanted people to know, which means you wanted the attention that came with it. You wanted attention to what you feel happened to you. There's nothing wrong with saying that, but you have to own it.
Problem. As if the damage he caused wasn't enough, then came the fake accounts. Thread after thread of lies, posts with words I never said, messages I never wrote. Some even claimed I edited conversations. Like, that makes sense. Y'all couldn't even tell the difference between Xbox and Discord, dude. Then you went and made a whole Xbox account, or maybe you just recycled the one you already had. Who even knows? Either way, the desperation was showing, because nothing screams we've got truth like faking accounts and inventing posts. All that effort just to make someone innocent look bad, just to protect a person you think matters more. Strangers who knew nothing were pretending to be credible witnesses. They didn't solve anything. They just put his toxic fan base on display. And the funniest part, you call me weird, but nothing's weirder than strangers spending hours creating lies about someone they don't even know.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
To tell me again, who's weird? And the worst part, he chose to sit back and let it happen. This is the man who calls him.
But this is what happens when you bring things into the court of public opinion. People are gonna debate about it. It's not real court where 12 jurors sit down, go over the evidence. That's not what the court of public opinion is. The Wild Wild West. And this is what happens.
A Christian. He allowed harassment to happen in his name. He stayed silent while others did the fighting for him, and he built a brand on values he never lived by. Christian on Sunday, to happen in his name. He stayed silent while others. He chose to sit back and let it happen. This is the man who calls himself a Christian. He allowed...
Wait a minute.
Harassment to happen in his name.
If that's not Jesus' textbook, Christians was getting persecuted. God was up there like, hey, hold up them commandments, buddy. Now, okay, that was a joke, Chad. That was a joke. But if that's what the leader was doing, what you expect the followers to do? It was a joke. It was a joke.
He stayed silent while others did the fighting for him, and he built a brand on values he never lived by. Christian on Sunday, manipulator every other day. Tell me, what's Christian about that, fucking coward? And don't get it twisted. Bringing up his religion isn't crazy. He built that image himself, wore it like armor, used to sell himself as someone pure and untouchable. This isn't about belief. It's about behavior that never lined up with the values he claimed to represent. There's a difference. You don't have to believe me. Truth is, most of you never wanted to. You dragged me before I even had the chance to speak. And let's be real, nobody else came forward because they saw exactly how I was treated.
No, okay, there are people who wanted to discredit her before they actually listened or actually did their own research, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Quinn, what's up? But she also wanted to believe without any scrutiny. Neither one of those can exist. You cannot have a world where people just believe you with no scrutiny, and you cannot live in a world where you just discredit things without actually looking into them. This is why conversations happen. So you can get down to, okay, what really happened? What did they say? And there's some holes.
They stay quiet out of fear. And I can't blame them, really. When I went on live to explain pushing through stress just to...
Exactly. People think because you believe in a religion, you're Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu, they think you're attaching yourself to that to be untouchable. Some people use religion as a code of ethics and principles and morals to live by. That's what most people, they're not using it to say that they're perfect.
be heard. Y'all ignored the words and clowned how I spoke. Like, that's what mattered. Let me spell it out for you since most of you clearly don't know me. Stress triggers medical conditions I live with. When my anxiety spikes, I stutter, always have, and I also deal with chemo brain, lasting side effect of cancer treatment that messes with memory and speech. That's why I chose to write. Even then, it wasn't enough. You guys complained, mocked me, you picked apart like my pain was entertainment, like I was nothing more than a sideshow for you to tear down. Some of you even said I was writing in poems. Let's be real. I write better than half of you stupid ass people anyway. Y'all just uneducated and just don't know how to do shit or read for that matter.
Hold up. Are you belittling people right now? Is that are you being ableist?
In poems. Let's be real. I write better than half of you stupid ass people anyway.
I write
Y'all just uneducated and just don't know how to do shit or read.
You're stupid, uneducated. These are ableist terms. Are we what are we doing here? You see how when you could flip anything to make anybody look, oh, now she's evil. Two evil people being evil to each other. What y'all want from us?
For that matter. I didn't do this for you. I did this for myself. For every person he damaged and tossed aside like they were nothing. You don't know me. You don't know who I've stood with, who I've buried pieces of myself for, or how deep the scars run from people like him. You don't even know the basics, my color, my food, my grind, my bloodline. Instead, some of you were ignorant enough to decide I must be white just because I'm like.
Yo, please, chat, listen. If you take one thing from me, go to therapy, bruh. Do not load up a camera. We are in the town center right now talking for entertainment. We're passing time, kikiing. If you need to vent and you need to find out parts of yourself that you're about to bury for other people, just go to therapy. Figure out what's going on with your brain so you can navigate it so you're not a victim every time you interact with somebody. Okay? BetterHelp.com, you know what I'm saying? Hey, they're going to have to give me a sponsorship after this.
Like somehow that would make it all less serious. Like the damage wouldn't matter if you could erase my culture out of the story. That's racism. That's ignorance. And the funniest part, you were so wrong. I'm a minority. Asian and Spanish. You tried to strip me of who I am just to fit your weak ass narrative. And in doing that, you proved exactly why stigma like this exists. You showed your to strip me of who I am just to fit your weak ass narrative. And part, you were so wrong. I'm a minority. Asian and Spanish. You tried to strip me of who I am just to fit your weak ass narrative. And in doing that, you proved exactly why stigma like this exists. You showed your prejudices out loud. Meanwhile, this coward parades around and bragging about how he likes Latinas. Like that somehow excuses the way he treats them. That's who you defend. That's who you idolize. Some of you are way too comfortable running your mouths with no actual knowledge. Considering none of you were there. You don't know the full story. You don't know the people involved. But you swear you understand what I've been through. You've clearly never been doxxed, cyberbullied.
But you see how she doesn't discredit? Well, I mean, I guess Mavattack was kind of there. He heard some of the stuff. But he wasn't there in the messages, right? You take his opinion as credible. You take the people's opinion who agree with you as credible, but you don't take the people who disagree with you as credible. You cannot discredit people based on who you want to discredit. You can't do that.
And harassed while trying to process trauma in real time. Just to be told you're doing it wrong? People expected me to know how to explain something I was still trying to process while being watched, doxxed, cyberbullied, interrogated, and judged the entire fucking time. I didn't owe y'all shit, because who the fuck are you? Were you in the bed with me and him? Were you there when we were on our excursions? No, you weren't. I chose to speak for myself and for anyone else who's going through it or gone through it. Y'all already acting like rabid dogs off of vague sentences. You think I'm giving you more to chew on? Be for real. Gaslighting me at my weakest, they thought they could bully me into rewriting reality. But the truth was already written and it's not changing. And that 6-hour call some of you won't shut up about. Try getting one clean sentence out when your body's locked in fight or flight. When you're frozen, terrified to misspeak and fully aware every word is being dissected by people who already decided they fucking hate you. I've been used, lied to, walked on, and then somehow cast as the villain? So imagine clawing up the strength to finally speak while you're shaking.
Okay, maybe. I don't know.
Drowning and the internet tears apart how you talk.
I kind of hated that she said something about that Make-A-Wish. What did she say about Make-A-Wish?
Look, how you breathe. Oh, she stuttered, must be lying. She paused. Oh, she's faking. No, go fuck yourselves. And stop with the, it happened 7 years ago. Like, time erases scars. Like, time is supposed to clean it up, make it easier to ignore. It doesn't matter how long ago it was. Time doesn't hand you a clean slate. That's not growth. That's hiding until people forget. People change. People grow up. Cool. Then explain the people he hurt more recently. What's the excuse now? I'm not here because what you saw on his channel. I'm here because of what he hit. You don't get it. So no, y'all aren't entitled to your opinions about shit you know nothing about. And just so we're clear, he even said y'all need help. And no, that's not me defending him. It's just a fact, because this level of parasocial delusion is insane. Parasocials are the disease of this whole community. You sit behind screens drooling over a man who doesn't even know you exist. You're parasites feeding off his image and spitting venom at anyone who tells a story you can't handle.
Look at how belittling she is to people who are critiquing her. Is there some validness in the way that people act in parasocial relationships? Yes. But some people who can only see their perspective, their brain is just as dysfunctional as that person. Everybody has things going on in their brain that causes them to interact and see the world in a way that other people not going to agree with. But the way hers doesn't function is okay. The way yours dysfunction, or the way hers to her is okay, but the way yours isn't okay. Do we care about mental health or not? Huh?
You don't defend him because you know him. You defend him because you've built a fake version of him in your head. And the thought of that image breaking terrifies you. You're addicts. You're obsessed. You're sick. You'll scream his name till your throat burns, and he still won't say yours once. He'll keep collecting your views, your money, blind loyalty while you eat each other alive in the comments. That's what being parasocial has made you, fighting like bodyguards for a man who wouldn't even hold a damn door for you. And another thing, what sense does it make to keep this hard for a grown-ass man? He's not a toddler. He doesn't need you holding his hand just to speak. He's 32 years old, and y'all clown me for being old when I'm barely 2.5 years older than him? Make it make sense. Door for you. And another thing, what sense
Listen to what she just said.
does it make to keep this hard for a grown-ass man? He's not a toddler. He doesn't need you holding his hand just to speak. He's 32
But you put this story out so people could support you.
years old, and y'all clown me for being old when I'm barely 2.5 years older than him? Make it make sense. It's not just parasocial.
And sometimes people, they keep bringing up this parasocialness of, look what he did and blah, 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 right? Sometimes you can hear a story without having both sides and know that there are holes in the story that another perspective is going to fill in. That's why they say there's your story, their story, and the truth, right? You could take Cory and replace him with random Joe Bob at UPS. Matter of fact, let's make him VP or district manager of UPS. That way he's a little important, okay? If she told the exact same story, there are some questions people would still have, even though they don't even know Bob, the district manager, exists. Because the story you told, anybody who has a decent amount of life experience is going to look at the story and say, something's missing a little bit. And that's okay.
It's the culture that's been rotting for years. The gaming community is still drowning in misogyny, and it shows in every comment section, every Twitch chat, every joke that gets a free pass because it came from the right face. Women aren't treated as equals. We're trophies, punching bags, or entertainment until we stop smiling, and then we're the problem. And the sad truth, most of the male creators sitting at the top don't challenge it. They thrive in it. Misogynistic behavior in the gaming community isn't talked about enough, and when it is, it's dismissed as drama or overreacting. But I've seen it, I've lived it, and I've been on the receiving end of it. Besides the very few who are humble and genuinely good, the rest have built entire careers off this imbalance. They profit from it, play into it, and protect it because it keeps them untouchable. Their fan bases will excuse anything. Harassment, cruelty, manipulation, because tearing down their idol would mean admitting that they've been worshiping the wrong person all along. And Cory, he's not just a passive bystander in this. By enabling it, by staying silent when his influence could have shifted the culture, he helped teach.
Bro, I want to see if, okay, she's basically just, you know what I'm saying? Are they going to talk to each other? Oh, yeah, we're not. Oh, seen a screenshot. What is this?
Him, but you really just exposed it. Behind closed doors, though, he was still reaching out. He told Mav with a facepalm that I contacted him.
What's going on with you though? Man, nothing much. Trying to get my affairs in order. Getting texts from my ex. The usual stuff. If it's usual, you know. Nami was texting me this morning. This was 2019. It's like I want her to leave me alone, but I want her one more time. Other than that, helping with family. About to move for my grandma's in the hood in Detroit. Just stay positive. Starting over here. Okay. Me personally, when I leave people or we detach, I have no interest. Most people, bro, they like, oh, one more time, all right? Before I go, hit the road. That is a normal thing. I think, and that's probably what upset most people, is that a lot of guys were like, this is like a normal feeling that people have, not just guys, girls do too. There's some girls, why do you think certain relationships linger longer than they should? They like, yo, I'm trying to do that one more again. All right.
And he said to him, I wish she'd leave me alone, but I want her one last time. That's some narcissistic shit. Plain and simple.
No, it isn't. You ever, bro, have you ever went in your closet and you seen a jacket that you know you ain't worn in a minute? It was your favorite jacket at one time, but you know you should give it away to make space and clean your closet out. But you like, nah, there's one more time I could wear this fit. All right. You ever plan to start going to the gym and yo, on Monday, no more sweets, no more cookies. Monday come, you go to work, they bring in Krispy Kreme donuts. You like, bruh, one donut not gonna hurt. and then I'll start my journey. Because that's what you like. You enjoyed it enough, but you know you got to make better decisions. That is a human trait. That is not narcissistic. This is why people need to go to therapy and stop using words they heard from people who went to therapy and thinking they know what it means.
Well, in public, I'm the crazy ex he supposedly needs the law to protect himself from. In private, I'm still the person he wanted to keep around for his convenience. You can't have it both ways. You don't get to brainwash millions, then admit behind the scenes you still wanted me. That's not honesty, that's manipulation. And
But that's why do people think the term "you can't have your cake and eat it too" came from nothing? No, it came from the human nature of people, bro.
done letting him script my story. You want to drop subliminals? Fine. I'll answer direct because this so-called crazy ex-girlfriend that you call me is actually the one telling the truth. And the truth is, Cory, the only crazy one here is you, bitch. Yeah, I see a damn public figure. I see a dirty-ass dude. He's still a regular person. And a shitty one at that. I always treated him like a regular person. And he still is. Even if y'all act fame and racist fuck behavior, being known doesn't mean he's any different from a regular mother person. And he still is. Even if y'all act fame and racist fuck behavior, being known doesn't mean he's any different from a regular motherfucker who lies, cheats, and manipulates. He's not a nice person, period. Just because someone doesn't like how they looked in your story doesn't mean they can sue you for it. Defamation requires a lie. I told the truth. And for the record, opinion, emotional experience, and calling out patterns of behavior, those are all protected speech, especially when you're speaking about a public figure. If telling the truth makes someone uncomfortable, that's on them, not me. There's a clear difference between speaking out about your own experiences and crossing a line into targeted harm. What I shared came from my life. It was personal, real, and legally protected.
And from your perspective, this is what people be failing to, this is from your perspective, okay? People need to learn that word. Perspective, okay? The way somebody else sees something, that's why, to be honest, I think most of them were probably young at this time. Younger, right? 2019 was, yeah, they were in their early 20s, right? There are some friends that you have growing up that remain your friends when you get older. Most of your friends, they're not really your friends. They are friends of convenience. Y'all happen to live around each other. Y'all haven't really started your own lives yet. Y'all go to the same school. Y'all go to the same college. Y'all work at the same entry-level job. But once y'all start to become who y'all are, sometimes those relationships start to fade because people don't see the perspective of the other person. Oh, you're going to college now. You think you too good to come home and see us? It's perspective. But some people, they latch on to what y'all once were and think you're supposed to stay like that forever.
I saved this for last, and some of you thought it was okay to pick apart my cancer diagnosis. Fuck you. You don't get to question something you've never lived through. You don't get to dissect dates like you're solving a puzzle while I was fighting to stay alive. You weren't there. You didn't feel it. And unless you've gone through it yourself, you have no idea how much pain I was in. February 7th, 2020, I had triple negative breast cancer, stage 3A, one of the most aggressive types. So let me give you a fucking visual, since clearly some of you need one. A chemo point in my chest. Look, scar right here. Over 10 surgeries. Needles at home just to keep my red and white.
I don't think people were questioning. Well, maybe they were. I ain't even going to say they wasn't. When she brought up the cancer thing, I never even questioned if she had it. Well, she said, she cropped the message where Cory said, that's the most passive aggressive way to say you got cancer. Where's the rest of the message? What did you say? Because you might have just been passive aggressive. And like I said in my other video, if she came out and she said, I got stage whatever cancer, and I hope you know that if I die, you never treated me right. That's passive aggressive. I would have responded the same way Cory did. And judging by the way she's talking, sounds like that's how she talked to people. But you know,
Bless from bottoming out, fever spiking to 104 for hours when those needles stopped working, being hospitalized on a COVID floor, isolated, terrified, hoping I wouldn't have to fight 2 battles at once, hair falling out in clumps in the shower, crying every time I touched it, every time more of me disappeared down the drain.
All right. Okay, I think we're done with this. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, Cory might be, you know what I'm saying, real woman. He might be. Who knows, right? But the pictures that these two people have painted you can tell there are reasons behind what they're saying. I tell people like my new quote is, a lot of people care more about being able to crucify people than they care about bringing people closer to their reality. In my reality, I was hurt. I want to crucify you. But sometimes other people may see that reality and say, that reality, one, you had some blame in it. Two, if you see it from their perspective, you would be selfish for wanting them to act exactly how you wanted them to act. So they're not necessarily wrong for what they were doing. So we don't think that's crucifiable for. But, you know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. We got enough time to run some